Happy Friday, everybody. We are back at our Stonebrook residence project, and we are seriously making some good headway over here. The rough-in is pretty much done. We have services roughed in, we have a gas line, we have a working furnace, we have running water to the house, and there's been a lot of changes. So I'm excited to give you this walkthrough. Let's go take a look. So we knew there was going to be some issues when trying to rough in a house. That is made pretty much entirely out of concrete, aside from our faux walls. Or not faux walls, but there's no structural bearing walls in this house that are made out of wood. So we knew that this was going to come with some challenges. And to be honest with you, we did a pretty good job nailing down the requirements as far as access holes and all of that goes. We did have to make some adjustments because we decided further on down the line that maybe we should be adding a central vac system to the home. So we had to core some holes for that. And then I did my best to try to plan out all of the HVAC venting requirements at the side of the house, but I didn't quite get the spacing right, so we had to core some additional holes for that. But we are fully ready to go, and by the end of the week that you are watching this at, everything is absolutely completed at this juncture. You can see we have drop ceilings absolutely everywhere. So upstairs, main floor, basement, everything is dropped in steel channel system. And it has to be created out of steel because you can't have a faux ceiling made out of wood that could potentially fall on the firefighters or people inside the home in the event of a fire. So it has to be built out of steel, and so that's what you're looking at here. You can see we've got our arches are starting to come together, so we're really starting to get the look and feel of how this finished house is going to look. This is where the staircases are going to be. Yes, this one is going to move, but there's a bit of a process that we have to tiptoe our way through to make sure that drywallers, tapers, everybody has access to this open to above area. So we're gonna keep this here for now, and we'll eventually switch this over when it makes sense in the future. But for now, this is what we're working with. You can come check out over here. So this is the office. So we've built this big bulkhead around here, which is obviously housing a bit of plumbing components, which is great, but you can see there's blocking up in the corners here. And this blocking is essentially going to house or hold some solid pieces of walnut. So we're going to do walnut floor joists. Well, they're not floor joists, just walnut joists that are going to span from end to end. And in the top of each joist, we're going to router out and put a LED strip light on the top of it. So this exposed ceiling is going to remain exposed. This is how it's going to look when it's all said and done, and we're actually going to light up that ceiling to highlight it. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really excited to see that. We have a nice bank of cabinetry that's going in there. We have our provision for Cat 6 rough-in and a floor receptacle here because the desk is going to sit here. This office is going to be absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see this room come together. It's going to be a stunner. So coming over here, you can see we have all this plumbing that's shooting across the ceiling. And it's funny because you have to have the foresight way back when we were planning out where all the perforations were going to be in these concrete slabs. We had to make sure that we were allowing for all of the plumbing to get back to where the sewer drain was going to line up. And we had an idea of where it was going to be, but you don't know exactly where it's going to be. So it's kind of like this chicken and the egg scenario where you're trying to rough in, knowing generally where things could go. And you're trying to have as much foresight as you can, but you don't really know until you know when things are actually coming together. So things have worked out great. Everything, all the plumbing in the house essentially runs down to this side, and when we get down to the basement, you can see how it all exits. So it's pretty cool, but come check out this room over here. This is the sunroom. I absolutely love this vaulted ceiling in here. We have 3 skylights in this room actually. The center one is fixed, and the 2 exterior units actually open. And they're pretty cool. They actually open and close automatically. There's a remote that controls them. They're rain sensing as well. So if it starts raining and you had them open, they'll automatically close. But this room is going to be absolutely wicked. There's going to be some cabinetry on that wall over there, but this room can be used as a greenhouse. It's just going to be an amazing room to hang out in. So I really love the way that this is turning out. One of the biggest challenges that we actually had in this house is trying to squeeze in a suitable fireplace. So the homeowners have been absolutely adamant right from the beginning that they're going to have a wood burning fireplace. I initially had thought that this meant we were going to build the big chimney and all of that, but we're actually using a self-contained unit. So it's a zero clearance fireplace. I'll bet with a bunch of different rules attached to it that you wouldn't typically see, but we have these giant vents that are going to essentially make up the chimney. And so we had some issues with clearances and everything. We've sorted it all out, and we are still waiting on the unit to show up. Should be here in a week or two, I would imagine, at this point in time. But we had to figure out a pathway that was going to provide enough clearance to combustibles for us to be able to get this thing through. So, bit of a challenge. There was a lot of back and forth. Do we do a smaller unit? Can we actually fit this unit? So after tons and tons of different meetings on site, we sorted it out. We are going to do the big Astria Georgian. It is a stunning fireplace. So it's going to look like a gas fireplace, but with actual wood burning components on the inside of it. So going to be really stunning. Can't wait to see this thing go in. Where should we go? Upstairs? Downstairs? Let's go upstairs first. Coming up here, you know, all of our rough-ins are in, but you can see we like to make these platforms. They're just far safer to work off of. So we run floor joists, and any open to below areas, we cover them so that it's safe to work on. You know, the boarders can come in, the insulators can come in, electricians can do their thing, HVAC, everybody can work safely and efficiently and not have to worry about working at heights or off a scaffold or something like that. So we actually are going to take these down, the borders, when we get to that point. We're gonna drywall down to these, then we'll take them down and we're gonna rebuild them just on top of that. So we're able to continue to work safely and efficiently. Up here, we'll get a coat of paint on, all the pot lights, do as much as we possibly can before these platforms come down, and then it'll just be minor touch-ups. So again, just having a little bit of foresight goes a long way in making sure that A, you have a safe site, and B, you have an efficient one. Coming into one of these bedrooms, you can see we have the exposed ceiling. We looked at maybe keeping the exposed concrete as an option. She didn't really like it, wasn't loving the idea, so all this is gonna get skimmed out, but we do have our pot lights, our lighting, everything is built into the concrete slab. Everything was planned out before there were any walls up or anything. So, so far so good over here. But you can also see some interesting details here where our walls are already insulated, or these columns are already insulated from the backside. We've shown this to you already from the exterior, but on the interior, we have a vapor barrier, which is the blue skin on the outside, and it's all insulated there. So we're able to just fill in our insulation here and connect our vapor barrier to the blue skin, and this is an insulated wall. So we don't have to do anything on the inside of these columns here. It can remain nice and tight. The borders are just going to, you know, install drywall directly on top of it, and then this is a finished product. So cool detail, not too typical, but that's what we have to deal with on this house. Let's go check out the primary suite. So they have this little hallway there. There's gonna be a linen closet back there, but coming into this room, again with the vaulted ceiling, all these ceilings are going to actually be skim coated, but we're going to have an amazing stone wall behind their bed. And it's gonna be the same stone that is on the exterior of the home, except it's just a much thinner unit. So that's gonna be an awesome detail. And we have decided to move forward with a little linear electric fireplace in the bedroom just for a little bit of ambiance, but this is really coming together nicely. Coming into the bathroom, moving into here, we have the walk-in closet, so cabinetry on both sides. And then coming into the bathroom section here, there's so much going on in this area. Just big shower. So this is gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna be using the ARIA system to do a floating shower bench across that wall there. Because we have this column to work around, so trying to work it into the design a little bit. We're going to build the shelf out, and so they will have a nice long bench for them to use in their shower. And then, you know, we have the little furnace room here. Everything is working out great. We have our additional panel up here. So again, lots of power, lots going on in a very tight, confined space, but it's working out great. Other thing is you can see here, all the different QR codes with all the different information for everybody to use. You know, these little details make a big difference in execution. So let's go check out the basement now. Okay, so moving down into the basement, there are some pretty huge changes going on down here. We're gonna have some nice storage, some nice usable storage underneath the staircase here. We actually had to put this wall up because we realized there was really no place to put switches in entering this basement. So the homeowners have elected to close this system up, and this is going to get peeled back when the real staircases go in. We'll peel this back and cut it all so that it lands directly underneath the stringer. So this is gonna clean up really nicely. But we come over here, this is going to be our rough-in for, or this is our rough-in for where the bar is going to be. You can see over here we have the old furnace that was removed from the existing home that was knocked down. We have that fired up and operational, so that is what is keeping this house at a workable temperature right now. It's a great option, and I highly recommend if you're ever planning on doing a project that requires the whole thing to come down, save your old furnace. It goes a long way. Coming around over here, we're gonna have a pool table in this area, a Jatoni table there, dartboard over there, and probably the highlight of the entire basement is going to be the golf simulator over here. So the idea is to have some couches, some chairs over here. We're gonna do one 16-foot staircase that is going to walk down into this. The screen's gonna go over there, and we built the floor up so that we could actually level things out. You know, the concrete floors, they are not perfect by any means. When you are putting, you want to have a straight surface, a level surface. And so we have done that. But the one thing that we did change was the homeowner had asked that we tilt it back on a 2% slope so that when the ball hits the screen, it has the proclivity to want to roll back towards them. So cool little option, and you know, it's that little bit of foresight early on in the process that's really gonna help in the livability in the future. So pretty cool setup. The other thing that building this floor up did for us was the architect had actually had a couple steps coming down into here, and we had enough ceiling height where we could build up and still have almost 10 feet of finished space. So we were able to do that and actually reduce down to a single step, which is gonna make it a lot less of a hazard, particularly since we wanted to have end-to-end staircase, and being up out of the ground just is gonna give a more comfortable feeling when you're actually teeing up and swinging backwards here. So this is turning out great. So I know I mentioned upstairs all the plumbing drains down to the one side of the house, and you can see all of the drains actually coming across the ceiling. They all move to the side here, down, and that is our exit point. So I know I mentioned right in one of the very beginning videos that we didn't know exactly where that drain was going to come into the house, and there it is, 5 feet up. So everything from upstairs slopes down into it, and then all of the basement stuff runs through an ejector pit. It gets macerated, pumped up, and then gravity fed back down through the system into that drain. So there it is. Other thing that I'll mention here is because it's a concrete home, most houses actually have floor joists that provide some sort of cavity for you to run services in. With a concrete home, you don't have that. You have to create this entire drop ceiling structure for all the services to run in. So essentially the majority of your ceiling when building a concrete home is actually double thickness what you would normally get on a typical home. Okay, so moving into what was supposed to be the gym is now the theater room slash music room. So I love what's going on here. This is actually turned into a multi-purpose space. The homeowners wanted a place where they could have, you know, drum set, all the musical instruments and all that stuff neatly organized in the home. Also wanted a proper solution for being able to sit down and truly enjoy a movie together. So what we've done here is we've actually created a stage across here, and they're going to have a place to be able to set a drum set, set guitars on the wall. All the amps and everything are going to be able to hide behind this wall here. And this is going to be where the big screen TV is going to sit. They're looking at different seating options right now, but we're going to have a stage. This is all going to be carpeted, and we're going to have drapes that can pull out around here and tie into this wall. So most of the time when those drapes are closed, it's just going to look like a nice rich theater with the screen flanked by the draperies. And what this is going to allow them to do is hide all of the equipment, all the cords, all that stuff for the majority of the time. But when they want to use it, they'll be able to pull these curtains back and have all of this awesome music equipment set up, ready to go for what could be a nice little performance. This has also provided us with a great finished space to be able to put all of the data, and all those systems are all going to be on the back of this wall. So we're going to have a pot light up in the ceiling over here, and we're going to be able to mount all the amps, all of the equipment on the back side of the TV wall, which kind of gives a nice multi-purpose use for that space. So this was supposed to be a bit of a lounge area where you come in from the exterior and you can hang out here. We're looking at doing some cabinetry across that wall, potentially built-in fridge, all of that stuff. But then they decided, hey, this would be a great place to put the gym. So they're gonna have their equipment in here. We've got some nice dedicated circuits in this area to power all the equipment that they want, but it's a nice, bright, airy place for them to wake up, come for a workout, enjoy the space. It freed up that additional space for a nice sized theater room that's kind of hidden and compartmentalized. So again, I truly recommend not getting so hung up with what's drawn on the architectural plan, or you made your mind up then and there, 6 months ago, a year ago, however long it's been to get the project off the ground. As you're walking through the space, it's going to feel different, and you don't want to shoehorn yourself into decisions that you made that might not be optimal. So I know the homeowners love this. We have such a great plan for this basement. It is going to be such an awesome space for entertaining and ultimately living and enjoying for years and years to come. It's really special to be a part of from my end, and I know we're having a great time putting this together. So thanks for joining us on this walkthrough. Next steps from here is going to be finishing up the insulation, moving on to drywall. We're starting to put together the plan of execution for the exterior of the home. Things are really gonna start to shape up here. So Pewter Dot Build across the board. Thanks for watching.